my name is Christine McHugh, and I am a Certified Intimacy Coordinator based in Santa Fe, New Mexico, working in the film and television industry. And for today's episode of Ask an Intimacy Coordinator, I'm here to answer the question, why should production companies hire an IC? And I'm here to say that the answer is really threefold in my experience. The first one is for safety. We are primarily an advocate for the actors' safety in scenes of hyperexposure. So that would be considered simulated sex, nudity, sexual violence, among other acts of intimacy. And in the same way that you would hire a stunt coordinator to ensure the actor's physical safety in action scenes, you would hire an intimacy coordinator to ensure the actor's emotional safety, as well as their physical safety in these scenes of hyperexposure. And we're extremely well versed in all of the guidelines of SAG-AFTRA that they've established regarding intimacy scenes. And so we understand how what is considered the correct protocols for how to execute these scenes. And we are there to kind of mediate the experience of the actors, making sure they have full consent to everything that the director envisions about what the scene is in telling the story, in service to the story. So we want to make sure we're not the sex police. We're there to make sure that the director's vision is realized, but also understanding that in maintaining a professional and respectful work environment, the actors need to have full consent to whatever the director might envision. And the actor may have boundaries, and we try and surface what those might be, what they're comfortable with, and then they determine whether or not they can consent to that action or not. If there's any pushback or disconnect between the director and the actors, intimacy coordinators mediate a compromise, because there's a lot of different roads to Rome, and there's a lot of different angles from which you can tell the same story using different kinds of choreography. So there's always a way, there's always a solution in there, and we just want to make sure that these scenes, which can be very sensitive, are being spoken of respectfully with all of the parties involved. Next is efficiency. And there's efficiency this is an industry where time is money. So being able to have clear communication that allows things to happen swiftly and effectively is a very valuable thing. And that's what an intimacy coordinator leads to. We are very well versed in all of the standards of having a closed set. So we work very closely with the first assistant director in understanding and maintaining only essential personnel being on set in these scenes of hyperexposure. We also know, besides knowing the SAG-AFTRA guidelines, we also are very familiar with all of the standards that go into the kind of language that needs to be present for a nudity writer. And that would be the language of nudity or the language of simulated sex, so that we can be specific with that. And we may be collaborating with the legal department in making sure that all of that language is there, so that the directors and the actors are in complete agreement about this, and the actors will sign this nudity writer about 24 hours before they perform the scene. And then finally, effectiveness. Let me say that in my experience as an intimacy coordinator, just being on the set seems to raise the level of professionalism in the whole work environment. Because having an intimacy coordinator is a very strong signal that is telegraphed to all people working on the set that this is a production company that believes very clearly in creating a professional work environment, one that is respectful, equitable, compassionate, and having an intimacy coordinator brought in for these hypersensitive scenes, it starts to give the message that this is a company that cares very much about what is clearly an evolution that the industry is moving towards, which is, again, always maintaining a level of the highest professionalism in the workplace. So those are some of the reasons why it's important to do it. There's lots more reasons we can get into. We hope you'll ask more questions of us, because we feel so strongly that this is the kind of role that stands at the vanguard of advancing just the highest standards of professionalism for all people working in the film and television industry, and certainly in scenes of intimacy. Thanks.